Auditioning for Hololive. Earlier this year, my friend Domi did the music audition for the Hololive English company. I got to help her with creating the video part of the audition, which was quite a learning experience, so I decided to make a video describing the process to those who are either just interested in knowing about it or those who are actually planning on doing a music audition themselves in the future. By the way, for our particular audition, the requirements were 2 music videos of different genres and a third video, which is the in-character self-introduction video. Alright, first things first, let's outline the entire process into 7 steps. Along with these steps, I'll include how long it took to complete and another duration for how long I think it would take if you optimize the step. Here we go. Step 1. Deciding between an original song or cover. If a cover, which song? Step 2. Finding your 3D anime alter ego. Step 3. Practicing the song and recording the vocals. Step 4. Mixing the music with the vocals. Step 4.5. You will find the project a lot easier if you do this step. Subscribe and give the video a like. The details on how to do certain things will probably be lost after the first watch through, so being able to find the video easily again will help. Step 5. Making your character sing and rendering out the character video. Step 6. Creating the video of the cover song. This is where I actually have the most knowledge, so it'll be the most extensive section. Step 7. The introduction video and turning in your audition. Alright, so those are the steps. Future auditions might be different. If anything, you can treat this as a how to create a cover song video. Also, you can check out the 2 videos we created on Domi's YouTube channel. I'll link them in the description, or you can click up there. Unfortunately, she didn't get in, but as a first try, I think it was a solid entry. Anyways, let's go ahead and get to the process. Step 1. The covers. Domi decided on doing 2 covers, which were Sakurane by Pico and Ultraluminary from the movie Over the Moon. Since I wasn't involved in this section, I'm actually going to bring on Domi and have a conversation about the process. So, you have the floor, Domi.
Hi, Scott.
Hey, Domi. What's up?
Hey, what's up?
So, why'd you choose Ultraluminary?
The whole project was actually based on Ultraluminary because at the time I was super obsessed with the song and I just really love the singer who sang it, Eliza from Hamilton. Mm-hmm. And I thought it would be a good way to showcase my skills because I was trained in classical voice and musical theater, and this was kind of like a poppy musical theater song that was very much in my range, and it showed a lot of different vocal skills that I had. Like the first part was kind of almost classical, this a cappella section really honing in on kind of a mysterious lyrical voice, and then it transitions to this pop song, and then there's this beautiful emotional bridge, and then it's just a banger. Okay, I was just like, this is amazing.
I love the bridge.
And yeah, the bridge is the best part. That's my favorite part of the whole song. And from there, I actually had a hard time picking a second song that would complement the first song really nicely. Mm-hmm. And so I was originally going to choose a more emotional song, but I decided to do, the genre is different in that this was kind of more J-rock than just pop.
Yeah, which is something that you like.
Yeah, exactly. I really like J-rock, so I wanted to showcase, my skills in that area. And the second song actually changed a lot. I was originally gonna sing like Starless Night from Nana, and then I don't remember what else I was going to sing. I was gonna sing Sakura Kiss, the Oran High School Host Club opening. I was gonna sing that, but I didn't end up going with that. But I really like Sakurane. It's apparently the ending of Gintama. I didn't even watch Gintama, but I've loved this song ever since I found it during my Vocaloid phase in middle school, and it's by this singer named Pico. That's how I chose the songs. I was actually practicing a whole different song for a few days before I changed it to Sakurane, so what a journey that was.
Because practicing it allows you to sort of test your vocal range or test the feel of the song to what...
Exactly.
Yeah, so you know if it feels good to you. Yeah.
That's exactly what I did. I was practicing the other song and I was like, this is kind of hard. Can I do this? I feel like for a lot of other songs that I was picking, I was like, I can probably do this song, but is this the best song that I can do? So I thought Sakurane was more in my range, and I've always wanted to sing it. So I was like, let's go with that one.
All right, cool. That's good to know.
So I was on Vroid Hub. It's this site for this application called Vroid Studio where you can kind of make your own model. There was a section where you can like browse other creators like models that they made, and I kind of just skimmed through it. Skimming is kind of putting it lightly. I was like I was really raking through all the models. I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna be? Considering that I was singing Ultraluminary for sure, I don't think I was even set on the second song yet. I was already looking for a model that was kind of space themed or moon themed, because Ultraluminary is about, the moon goddess Chang'e. And so I was like, okay, I need to find some spacey model. And I kind of just stumbled upon the one that I found.
And I do think for one of the parts where you have to like sort of give your backstory of the character, that came into play as well a little bit, right? Like
So it
sort of has to match the look.
Yeah. Everything, as long as it was like, she's spacey, could be from the moon, I'm good. And this model looked really cute, and I thought she moved really well. Pretty much all checked out.
Sweet. So for practicing the song and recording the vocals, how did you sort of approach that?
Let's see. I think I actually started practicing Ultraluminary first, because at the time, I hadn't sang for quite a long time, and so my voice was a little rusty. It needed kind of a tune-up, so I had to just warm up a lot to get a feel of my voice again. And I went through this song practicing it like I would any other musical theater song, basically. Something really interesting, I guess, vocally that I did during this project was trying to brighten my sound. I had trained for a really long time in classical voice with a teacher who was training me as a mezzo-soprano. So the quality of my voice from that training is kind of dark. But I had to do a lot of exercises to brighten my voice, like ee, just like doing weird noises like that.
Yeah, I remember.
I was also I was also doing some warm-ups that my brother taught me. I think one of them was like and it's all this stuff that I'm not used to using my voice that way. Like for a really long time, like I was trained to use my voice in this really low and deep chocolatey sound. And I didn't want to sound like that. Like if you look at the model, like she wouldn't sound like that at all. So I was like, I gotta brighten this shit.
Yeah.
I gotta brighten this shit. And that was actually one of the most challenging things vocally about doing these songs, like having a lighter voice.
You had to go on like a training journey, a training montage.
Yeah, it was literally the training arc. I trained, I think I practiced all of these songs for like 3 weeks. I didn't expect to practice them that long, but my voice was so out of shape and I hadn't realized. And so I had to do literally training. I had to build my voice back up so that I could do all the things that I used to make it do.
Gotcha. So for recording the vocals, I'd imagine that some people think that you just do one take and it has to be like amazing or something, but that's like not very realistic.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't realize that, like when you produce a song, like actually produce a song and like put it out, it goes through a lot of processing. But yeah, I did do a lot of takes for all the different sections of every song, and I do so many takes. I think I did around 5 takes per section on average.
That doesn't seem that big to me.
Okay, it doesn't seem that big. I think I've actually improved, because before, when I used to record covers, I wasn't really used to recording my voice. I used to be really mic shy. I still kind of am, but after this project, I got to gain a lot of experience recording. But I remember distinctly this one time I was recording a cover at night, and it took me like 13 takes to get the first section down, and I was already too tired to do the rest of the song, so I just had to start again the next day.
Would you say one section is like how long? Like 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds?
I mean, as long as you can easily cut something in a certain place, that can be your take. Like that can be the section that you
There's
have.
like a
sometimes
decent pause, right?
Yeah. Or just like a section like where you breathe. Maybe
Gotcha.
that's a good
Yeah.
place to cut. And like when you stitch it together, it sounds like all one take. So that's thanks to the audio engineer.
Yeah.
I love to learn songs until they're performance ready. But in the case of this video, like I don't think I ever like did a recording where I sang the whole song and I was like, okay, that's great. For this, like it was more efficient for me to like break it into sections and like perfect each section as I was recording, I guess. That's kind of how I did it.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty new as a recording artist, so it's like I want to sing the whole thing and then have it recorded, but it's like it's so different because like, you know, putting something on Spotify, you can't you can't sing like the wrong note, you know?
Exactly, yeah. So GarageBand, many takes, and then combining them at the end, and then it heads to the audio engineer. All right, with the vocals recorded, we move on to step 4. For this step, Domi's friend Kendra from Solis Sound did all the audio engineering aspects. I was able to get on a call with her and ask her some questions about the process, but didn't quite record it, so I'll summarize the call as best as I can. For this particular project, Logic Pro X was used, since it is compatible with GarageBand, and that's what Domi recorded on. After receiving the project, the first step was working on the vocal track. The audio chain goes something like this. First, a damage control EQ, which just means taking out the really low or high frequencies that could be coming from stuff like an AC, for instance. Next is a compression to level out the audio more, which is important for making the quieter parts more audible. After that is another EQ for shaping the audio. In this case, the 8 to 10 kHz area was boosted for air and helps with making the vocals more present in the mix. Finally, we have tuning corrections. Since Domi's a trained singer, Kendra didn't really have to do too much in this part, but of course, she was careful in making sure that all the tuning went to the correct notes. These were the main inserts for the vocal track. As for the background music, Domi was able to find a good karaoke track for each of the songs, and not too much was changed for the tracks. The next step was making sure that the balance between the karaoke track and the vocals were good. This meant listening through the tracks and occasionally adjusting the volume. The main goal is to make sure that the vocals are always clearly heard and not drowned out by the music. After that's achieved, the vocal tracks were bussed to add reverb and some delay. For good measure, a limiter is always added to the master to prevent any clipping. Mastering is the last step, which means to make sure both of the final mixes are consistent with each other and to Spotify's loudness standards, which are -14 LUFs for overall loudness. And those were the general steps for the mixing section. I would definitely love to dive deeper and ask more questions, but I think that will have to be for another video where I'm more hands-on with the mixing myself. For now, I hope the general steps are able to give some sort of guidance for you if you're going to try this out. You can also check out Kendra's IG @SolisSound to contact her about doing audio work for you. Okay, let's move on to step 5 and bring Domi back on. Making your character sing in terms of the lips, how did you do that?
This is something a lot of like beginning YouTubers do. I have like the bare bones VTuber setup, which is the Vroid model, and this free program that you can get on Steam called 3Teens. It's this program where you can like easily import a model from Vroid Hub. I don't know, you just need a webcam. And then you turn on lip sync and face sync, and then there you go, like moves with your face and your head and stuff. And you can also make the character do different expressions. Like I think the only expression that I ended up using for at least the singing part was the closed eyes expression to have the character show some more emotion somehow. I tried doing other expressions too, but I think you saw this when I was doing the intro talking video. I was trying to use more expressions, but like they kind of made her face look weird, like her chin just like
double
separated
chin
from her face or something. So that didn't look good. Yeah, so I made sure I stuck to the regular expression and then the closed eyes expression for the songs at least. And you can record things within 3Teen, and I just put up a green screen behind her so that she could be like easily edited into whatever video you were going to make. And I kind of just played the song in one ear and then just like lip synced to the song with 3Teen. But it was I feel like I kind of had to exaggerate the lip sync because like 3Teen, it's a free software. It's not the best at lip tracking or whatever.
Right.
So I had to like really open my mouth to make her open her mouth. Like,
Gotcha.
for both, I had to do multiple takes because I don't know how. I just messed up in some weird ways. Like, sometimes she'd like move all weird and be like, there goes my take. And I didn't want to have to cut it up into takes because like the video that was getting recorded had no audio. So it's hard to tell like where you would cut. So I just thought, okay, if I might as well just do like, you know, a few takes of the whole song. Because unlike recording with audio, like all I had to do was move my lips. It wasn't that hard. So like recording a 3-minute song maybe 5 times wasn't too bad.
Okay.
Oh, also another thing. This might break the magic for some people, but a lot of people were like, how did you do that dancing animation in Ultra Luminary? And I literally, there's like, I think it's dance number 3 in 3-teen. Like you have 3 set dances that you can make your character do in 3-teen, and I kind of just picked one of them. So there's that. Illusion destroyed. I didn't dance.
Yeah. All right, cool. I feel like that step is pretty simple then.
Yep.
All right, here's where I come in. The video creation step. I've got to say, as the first time doing something like this, it was super tough, but I'm generally happy with the 2 videos I produced. The way I approached this step was struggle and try stuff. But now that I've done it, I can organize things in an order I think it would be best if I were to do it again. Here are the sub-steps. Step A, deciding on whether or not you want full lyrics, no lyrics, or a mix. Step B, finding inspirations to draw from. Step C, knowing your tool. In my case, that's After Effects. Step D, storyboarding the video based on the music. Step E, creating the video. Let's go ahead and jump straight into step A. So going into this project, I knew I wanted to try doing at least one full lyrics video. However, I wanted to practice a mixed video first, so that's why Sakurane has some lyrics occasionally and most of it doesn't. After doing a full lyrics video for Ultra Luminary, I've got to warn you, it takes up much more time. Moving on to step B. Anytime you have no idea what you're doing, my advice is to look to someone who does. In our case, we watched other Hololive music videos and used them as our inspiration. Around the time I was working on this, I watched the Trash Taste podcast episode with Calliope Mori, so I mainly used her music video as an inspiration. After you have an inspiration to reference, it makes the next steps a lot easier. Step C. Before storyboarding, it's a good idea to understand the tool that you're using. Since I've spent a fair amount of time now using After Effects, I have a sense of what can and can't be done in a reasonable amount of time. This is a factor that shouldn't be ignored since you're doing a project with a deadline. I won't really go into too much of how to use After Effects in this video since it'd make this video hours long, but I plan on creating some tutorials on my other channel, Dreamlit Academy. The link to the channel will be below. If you have any specific questions about something I did, just let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer it or create a video about it. For now, just know that if you're using After Effects, the possibilities are limitless. It's just a matter of how much time you have. Step D. Alright, storyboarding. This was a tough process. There's a lot of ways to do it, but going off of the feeling of the music does help a lot in terms of guiding what you want to do with the video. You can also repeat certain visuals using song structure, like for instance, I repeated this sort of audio visualizer section for both choruses, but I inverted the colors. I tried to think of the visuals as 5 different things: subject placement, background, movement, effects, and transitions. For subject placement, I mainly asked myself, what do you want the character to do in the video? In the first video, I was a lot less creative about using the character. I sort of just had the character's top half of the body just be there for the majority of the video. I got a lot more creative with the second video, and luckily Domi could make the character dance and stuff. And also having the original music videos were very helpful with deciding on the backgrounds and colors I used. I will admit, there are some parts that I just straight up winged in Sakurane, and for the Ultra Luminary one, I straight up didn't have a storyboard. Domi gave me free rein on that one, so I just based everything off of the original scene in the movie, which pretty much served as a pseudo storyboard. Step E, actually creating the video. To start off, I created a composition at 30 FPS since it matched the character video, and keyed out the green using something called VFX Primate Keyer from Red Giant. You can also use linear color key. From there, I added backgrounds from something called Animation Composer from Mr. Horse. It's a free plugin that helps save a lot of time. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. Anyways, so Animation Composer was what I mainly used for the backgrounds, but not all of them. Domi provided me with some of the images of space and skies that I used occasionally. As for movement, Just keyframing scale and position takes care of most of it. I used the keyframe wingman from Animation Composer to adjust speed. You can always do it the old-fashioned way with the speed graph. I'm a big fan of the faster than slower motion, which looks like this on the speed graph. I pretty much do it for almost all the keyframing. Afterwards is transitions. Again, I use the presets that come with Animation Composer. A lot of them you can technically do manually, but it's just faster to have a preset that you can drop in. Lastly is effects. I used lighting effects and the particle generator effect quite a lot for stuff like the petals moving around. Most of these things I didn't really understand how to use. I sort of just messed around by adding them and changing the effects, and eventually I came to a point where I liked what I did. As for the other effects, for Sakurane, the Japanese text was always given some shadow to add depth, and the text for Ultraluminary were always given a glow. There are various glow effects you can try out in the effects panel, but I use something called Optical Glow from Red Giant. Oh yeah, something to note. Font selection was a big time consumer. Me and Domi went through a lot of Adobe fonts that come with the Creative Cloud subscription, but my advice is don't put too much time into deciding between similar fonts, because the way you change the width, height, boldness, and tracking in the character panel matters more in how your text looks at the end. As a last piece of advice for the technical aspect, try to keep workflow in mind. One way to keep track of what layers belong in which scene is to change the color of it. Making pre-comps for each scene can also work, and I did that for a lot of Sakurane. But if you have a lot of layers and transitions active at once, sometimes things get a little messy and it requires extra work if you want to pre-compose it. Because of that, I basically just don't pre-compose it and hide it with the Shy Guy button. I think a big workflow mistake I made was trying to perfect one scene before finishing another. I think it's better to speed through to the final draft because it's likely that you'll create a few good scenes that you really like and a few that you don't like. What I would do after speeding through is go back and replace the bad scenes with the elements of the good scene. You might be repeating, but if it's a good scene, it'll still be better than keeping the bad scene. Also, the fact that you've created the scene already makes it easier to just copy and paste and change stuff like text, character placement, background, and colors, and so on. Spend some good time on the revision instead of trying to make it perfect the first time around. Honestly, it's hard to even get some of the timing right because of After Effects' super slow preview anyways. Seriously, even at the lowest resolution, the playback is really slow. So if you have less effects in your first draft, it'll be easier to preview. So just to sum up workflow, add the subject, then add the background, then add the motion for the characters or the background, then transitions, then the effects as the final step. That's what I would do if I were to redo the entire thing. So yeah, those were the technical aspects. I know it was quite a lot in a very fast manner, but on the other side of things, just as fun facts, I edited at night from around 7 p.m. to midnight during that month, so usually a 5-hour session, sometimes longer. I did have a few 7 to 10-hour sessions, those were killers. I completed each video in about a week. As a piece of advice, don't get discouraged if you only get like 20 seconds of video edited after like 4 hours. That's pretty much how it was for me. It was basically scene by scene editing, little by little, getting to the end goal. So just don't give up, my friends. Alright guys, we have reached the final step. Let's go ahead and bring Domi back on and ask how she prepped for this.
The prompt was literally just record a 5-minute in-character self-introduction. Kind of wanted to do kind of like a celebrity interview kind of video. It didn't super end up like that because I noticed that like when Hololive members debut, they kind of have like a profile page and they kind of walk through it. So I decided to do that like really last minute.
Yeah.
And I had practiced all the responses to the questions, and I recorded myself just like talking through the profile page. Yeah, I asked you to make the profile page.
Yeah,
I was about to say I made you do it, but like I was so mean. I was so mean. I asked nicely, okay? I asked nicely.
No, it was interesting to make that intro page.
It was really cute. You did a good job.
Thank you.
And yeah, I kind of just like filled that out and I talked through it in character. I wanted it to seem a little bit more natural rather than scripted because, I don't know, like this is an audition for like a streamer. So I want them to get a sense of more of my natural speaking voice instead of just like reading off a script. So I made a whole bunch of stuff up and said some stupid shit and listened to it in the end. And I was like, okay, we're just gonna go with this. It was like one of my first takes just talking randomly, and I kind of just cut that up and sent it to you, and I was like, okay, this is it. Like the first way I was doing it, like with the interview and just the questions, it felt really it felt kind of formulaic, and I was kind of just getting too used to it, and I was like, this it just sounded too much like a script. So I just wanted to say just some random stuff and, you know, occasionally throw in a bit of crazy
Gotcha. Okay.
crazy details about her and whatnot.
I mean, I feel like that's sort of how you make like some YouTube videos. You basically just talk in front of the camera with a decent mic, and then like whatever parts that you like, you keep, and then you just like cut it together.
Yep, that's what I did. They actually ask you to do that for the non-singing auditions too. That's actually the only component of the audition, aside from obviously the written application. But like for the just regular streamer audition, I tried again, and it was literally just that 5-minute video.
Gotcha.
So that was interesting.
All right, cool. So the last part was turning in the audition, and that was basically just like sending in the videos, right?
Yeah, so they asked me to post them unlisted on YouTube, and then I had to send them the links. And then like the application had some other components as well. Like they asked about like my streaming experience and content creation experience, and I actually had to write like a couple essay questions. I think one question was like, why do you want to join Hololive? And my response was literally like a 5-paragraph essay. Like I went all in. I went balls to the wall. Like, this is why I want to be here. This is why you need me. But yeah, that was pretty intense, the written part. And then submitting it, yeah, they just like, it was like a Google form. And yeah, I kind of just turned it in. But a month passed and it turned out that I didn't get it, but I think it was fine. Like, I think doing this audition kind of like jump-started like a bunch of other projects that I was inspired to do.
That's good. Are they like singing projects or?
Yeah. Like before this, I hadn't sang for so long, but because I had to sing and practice so much and like learn about recording, I was like, wow, this is something I want to do like way more often. Like it was really interesting because I grew up as a singer, but like recently, I guess before this audition, I wasn't really doing any singing. I was doing a lot of drawing, and I was really focused on like my job. But like I would singing was just like totally on the back burner until this rolled along. And so now that I've done this, I feel like I have some skills to build upon that are really exciting.
Yeah, it's reinvigorated your passion for singing.
Exactly. And I think actually pretty soon I'm gonna be starting to write some original music with Kendra.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I've never like written or released any original music before, so that's gonna be really exciting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Thanks.
And that's all 7 steps. This project took up about a month of this year, so I just wanted to share some of the process, and hopefully you guys enjoyed learning about it. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you liked the video. It definitely does help, so thank you. I do plan on doing other project how-tos like this, so if you like learning about the process for various creative projects, consider subscribing. I'm also trying to use my Twitter more often, so if you want to hear about these projects while they're still ongoing, here is my Twitter handle. For now, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next project.